started the department in 2011. I had been at 2 other universities before I came to Cambridge. I taught for 15 years at Lancaster University, and then I taught for 8 years at the London School of Economics. So I had had experience in 2 other quite different departments of sociology before I came here to Cambridge, where I came to take up the chair with a view to potentially moving the department more in the direction of science and technology, of medicine and health, and sort of trying to link Cambridge sociology a bit more to the very strong science orientation of Cambridge, because, you know, Cambridge really is very much about the science and technology. And so since that's a very rapidly growing part of sociology, it made a lot of sense to do that, and that's what I was asked to do. And I came here to establish some research initiatives that would link to the life sciences, which is what I had done before. And so I also lead a research group here, the Reproductive Sociology Research Group, which does have quite a few ties to biology, to genetics, to stem cell science, and to a number of the issues that concern scientists here at Cambridge, including issues around scientific translation, issues around changing definitions of biology, and really the sort of politics of those questions. You know, what does it mean that biology is becoming much more amenable to alteration and to modification, and how are decisions going to be made about that? So that's really been my main role, I suppose, in the department, to develop a research initiative that fulfills that idea that the department would move a bit more in that direction. I suppose at one level, the role of the chair of the discipline is to try and help lead the department in directions that will benefit the department over time and will enable the department to keep pace with wider changes in the discipline and within the academy. But I think really also what this department is about, and what this department has been trying to do, and in a sense what sociology is also trying to do, is to influence those agendas. So it's not just to respond to the fact that the biological sciences have become much more prominent in, you know, terms of politics and economics, but really also to try and say, well, you know, what are the social dimensions of that agenda, and how do we understand that challenge in a more social sense? And so really trying to position sociology as a discipline that can change our perspective on something like biotechnology. This department has been very, very successful, I think, in devising what you might call a kind of signature method. And I think what's very distinctive about what this department does is the way it combines original empirical data, original empirical evidence, with innovative forms of analysis and theory. I think, you know, one of the striking things about the department is how many people are doing highly original empirical research that is not only adding to what we know about topic A or topic B, but giving us a different analytical frame through which to understand those questions, and in that way demonstrating why a sociological perspective is really a broadening and very important and often quite neglected perspective. So with, for example, you know, scientific innovation, there's a kind of cliche that, you know, society is always responding to the developments that come from scientific discovery, and, you know, that's very much a model of impact, you know, that there are discoveries of certain sort of molecules or principles or capacities in the physical world, and that these, you know, therefore have social consequences. And really, from a sociological point of view, we'd want to sort of put that question the other way around and ask, well, what are the social infrastructures that produce certain kinds of knowledge? What are the kinds of social conditions that enable the discovery of this or that, as opposed to the discovery of something else? And the field of reproduction is a very good example. The kinds of technologies that are developed, the kinds of products that are marketed in the area of reproduction, are the product of a very particular worldview, and it could be quite different. And so we need to think about the future, in terms of how do we integrate a more sociological perspective into the design of the kind of technology we need. So I think one of the main challenges that the discipline of sociology faces is that it's very ambitious. There can really be a sociology of pretty much anything. There can be a sociology of filing cabinets. There could be a sociology of drinking utensils. There could be a sociology of, windows or of, cars. I mean, almost anything can become a sociological perspective or field. Because of that, I think sociology can be difficult to define or to pin down. And I think a discipline that relies very much on the study of relationships, and that relies very much on studying through relationships, making our relationships part of the means by which we understand things, and making that visible in a disciplinary way, is in some ways obvious, but in some ways paradoxically also counterintuitive. Sociology is very ambitious in terms of the scope of what it studies, in terms of the method it uses to do that, and in terms of how it defines itself as a science. And sociology has never really enjoyed the kind of prestige of disciplines that can, show that they split the atom, or, show that they can fly a plane. But that doesn't mean that sociology isn't a discipline that's, if anything, even more relevant now in an age when technologies are changing rapidly, when the kinds of challenges that are facing the world are complex in their relational dimensions, and really require a very ambitious discipline to address them. So the fact that sociology has been so interdisciplinary, that in particular that British sociology has been so open to approaches from other disciplines, from psychology, from economics, from anthropology, from the sciences, etc., is both a strength and a weakness. Is both a opportunity and a risk. And our department's been very good, I think, at positioning itself within that rapidly changing disciplinary picture. And it's been better of late, I think, at defining its role here at Cambridge, in particular by linking to the other real strength of the department, which is an emphasis on social inequality and social change. These are very difficult things to understand. The origins of social inequality, again, are at once obvious, but at another level, incredibly difficult to explain. Why do certain forms of inequality, racism, sexism, homophobia, why do they reproduce themselves so successfully, even in a context where it would appear, so many people would really like that to change? That's a question students really want to know the answers to. That's a question a lot of students are very interested in right now. How do we explain the purchase that racism has on everyday thinking, on the academy, on the discipline, on the way we teach, on the way we interact at a very quotidian level? So I think a real strength of the department has been to continuously innovate ways of teaching and researching and doing outreach and engagement around those sorts of questions. And I think that combination of being an analytically very ambitious discipline and being a very timely discipline in terms of the kinds of complex questions that we're asking is where the future of the department is really something that presents great opportunities. And here in the 50th year of sociology at Cambridge is a really important time to be thinking, how does the department want to define itself going forward? What are the issues that are really going to make this department stand out here at Cambridge? What are the issues that are going to make sociology as a discipline more visible and more powerful as a way of thinking? How are we going to communicate that to future generations who we want to have come study with us and contribute to the future of this discipline? Those are challenges I think the department has gotten more conscious of and more effective in responding to. I think the future is looking quite good. I think we have an amazing group of people right now in the department. It's just an incredibly interesting group of people who work very, very well as a team, and that's just so crucial to the future of the department. Is having a shared vision of not just what we want to do as a department or why we want to go in particular directions, but what kind of values that we have as a department. What's important to us and how do we communicate that? How do we communicate that in terms of what we teach, in terms of how we teach? How do we communicate that in terms of the culture of the department? How do we communicate that at the beginning of the year in terms of how we welcome, incoming undergraduates and postgraduates to the department? How do we communicate that in terms of how we appoint new staff and incorporate them into the future of the department? I think now is a very exciting time for Cambridge sociology to be defining itself and asserting itself and creating an identity for itself that is more recognizable. I feel very excited about being a part of that project.